What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Game Week 6 Top Captain Picks. Welcome to the video. If you're new here, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and let's get into the video. Alright, so Game Week 6. If you're new and you don't know what happens here, right now what we look at is the team attack versus the team defense over the last 4 game weeks. That's the data we collect, and any data we collect is taken from Fantasy Football Scout and the members area from there. Now, let's look at in terms of what I've highlighted here. I've highlighted 3 teams to look at in orange, and then I've highlighted the one team that could be a bit of an odd game where you could potentially see a few goals, but we don't know who to captain. Like, we don't have a clear favorite on who to captain, and that's the team in red, which is Everton versus Norwich. Now, there are other games also, and what you see on screen is you see each team's minutes per expected goals, and in brackets you see their goals that they've scored, and you also see their minutes per expected goals conceded and the amount of goals that they've conceded as well. I've added also their current position in the league table, and the 3 games that we've selected, it will be United versus Aston Villa, Leeds versus West Ham, and Brentford versus Liverpool. Those are the 3 games, and the teams we're going to be looking at would be United, West Ham, and Liverpool, because they have a decent set of attacking fixtures. Decent set of attacking stats, and they're going against a team that, given their attacking stats, you would hope that they can kind of score. But the thing is, if you were to look at United and Liverpool, both are going up against a Brentford and an Aston Villa team that have improved defensively over the last 4 game weeks, where both of them have a minutes per expected goals conceded of over 90 minutes. So it's going to be very hard for both teams to score. But the fact that they both have really good attacks is you're hoping that there will be some goals and they'll be able to find their way through these defenses. The favorable fixture would probably be West Ham versus Leeds, because you have a decent, you have a 64.1 minutes per expected goals with 7 goals scored from West Ham in the last 4 game weeks, which is a decent attacking stat against a Leeds defense, which is weak. One of the weakest defenses out of all 20 teams over the last 4 game weeks. They've conceded 8 goals at 47.1 minutes per expected goals conceded. So that is the favorable fixture. The other 2 are ones where majority of the community will be putting their captain's armband on top. And then I haven't selected any other fixtures because you don't have any clear favorites. Like Watford versus Newcastle could be another game, another red game. But you could potentially captain Sa against a Newcastle team. But there is a potential that Newcastle, they might approach it slightly differently because it's Watford. So it's a bit hard to kind of like guess what's going to happen in that game. So let's look at the 3 yellow fixtures. If you want to captain someone in the red fixture, you'll be looking at someone from Everton's attack to go up against Norwich, which have probably the worst defense in the league right now. So their defense. So it'll probably be a Demarai Gray. Calvert-Lewin is not fit. If he was, he would be the perfect captaincy choice. I don't know the status on Richarlison. You might want to check on that. He could be another option. But yeah, so those are a few options to look at. So let's start off with probably the best captaincy fixture, I guess, would be Antonio. Now, Antonio obviously is coming back from suspension, and he cost right now at 7.9 million. He scored 3 goals, 2 assists, with the expected goals of 1.61, as well as an expected assist of 0.54, an expected goal involvement of 2.15 over the last 4 game weeks. It's pretty good numbers, I would say. And you can see his heat map, so his touch map on the screen as well. And what I've added is, compared to the last video, in this video I've added the teams that they'll be facing, their expected goals shots conceded. So as you can see on Leeds, you can see the map, you can see their touch, that's the expected goals shots conceded, and all the green circles that you see are the ones where they've conceded goals. The big red ones that you see in that box, in the penalty box, is the ones that have been either missed or hit the post or like stuff like that, where the opponent should have scored. The big blue ones are ones that have been, I believe, blocked. And then you see all the tiny shots on the outside, which didn't have much of an effect or much chances of scoring. But what's noticeable in that is that Leeds concede a lot of shots inside the box. And if you look at Antonio's touch map, you can see a decent concentration just outside that penalty box, which is where Leeds are defensively weak. And if you look at the last 4 game weeks, their stats, they've conceded 76 goal attempts with 10 big chances conceded. And they've conceded their minutes per chance considered is at 5.1, minutes per big chance considered at 38.4. So Antonio will have at least 2, if not possibly 3 chances at score. Like, he could potentially get 3 big chances to score. If like West Ham perform how they were performing before the Southampton game. Even the game against United, West Ham did perform well. Obviously, Antonio was not involved, but when he's back, he's going to be their main focal threat. And I think now is a really good time to play Leeds, especially for West Ham. He could be a really good captaincy shot. So he is my probably first pick, I would say, if you had the option. But let's look at the other 2 picks, which I think a majority of the community are going to captain. Liverpool. And I've added Salah here because Salah is probably going to be the one who's going to be most captain this game week. And what I've done is, you see 2 tables. The top table is Liverpool's players sorted by expected goal involvements, the last 4 game weeks, all matches. And the bottom table is all their away games for this season. And even though Mane tops, as you can see, Mane he tops that first table with 3 goals, no assist, but his expected goals of 3.84 compared to Salah's 2.83. They both have the same returns, but Mane is just getting higher XG. But when you look at the away games, and Liverpool are playing away because Brentford are at home, so Liverpool are playing away, and Salah tops it. Salah has had 2 assists and 2 goals in Liverpool's away games, while Mane has just had the single goal. So that's why I would say if you had both, if you had either, or what would I say? I guess if people have Mane, it's a decent shout, but he hasn't performed away that greatly. So Salah is probably the best shout, and that's why I've added his heat map as well. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Brentford and their defensive stats. They have conceded only 29 attempts with 5 big chances conceded at a minutes per chance considered at 13.3, minutes per big chance considered at 77.2. So Liverpool are going to have to play really well to break down this Brentford team, especially because Brentford are at home. But Liverpool's attack, as you can see, is probably the best attack in the league right now. So they have a minutes per expected goals of 31.8, which is the best. And after them, it's only City that comes second at 37.5. And City are playing Chelsea, and both teams have really good defenses. So that game isn't going to have a high-scoring game. So Liverpool, you're going to hope that Liverpool can beat Brentford's defense. Brentford do have a really good defense, and as you can see there, the shot map that they've conceded, you can see there's only small red circles which were missed, and a few blue circles as well, which were blocked. So that is something to keep in mind, where compared to, say, a Leeds and Antonio, Brentford aren't going to be pushovers as well. They will be a decent team and could frustrate Liverpool. But there is a possibility that Liverpool's attack could sometimes just be too good and they could get a couple goals. So that's the case for Liverpool. Let's move on to the final case, which is Manchester United and Cristiano Ronaldo. What you see on top there is United's players in terms of the last 4 game weeks, sorted by expected goal involvement. Cristiano Ronaldo, 3 goals with an expected goals of 3.24. So it's kind of matching it. His assist is not that too high, but it's a 0.11, so don't expect him to have many assists, although I think he could have got one against West Ham if he had squared it to Greenwood. That could have been a possibility. And just below Cristiano Ronaldo is Bruno Fernandes at 1.48. Not the best returns for Bruno Fernandes recently, but he's second in United's lineup. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo's heat map, as you can see, it's a lot towards the left. It's very left-centric and also very in that he operates in the box as well a bit. So he likes to take it from the left and drag forward and go. So that is how his play style is. And if you're looking at Aston Villa's defensive stats, they, just like Brentford, aren't going to be easy to break down. But something to keep in mind is that this is something that people might overlook, is the fact that in the last game they played a back five. Tuanzebe was part of that back five. He can't play against United because he's ineligible to play against his parent club, which means that could potentially switch Aston Villa back to a back four, which could probably, what would I say? It reduces the defensive stability that they've had. And the reason they've been defensively solid is because they've been playing that back five. Moving to a back four could probably reduce that defensive stability. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm not sure if they probably might move back to back four unless they put someone else in there. But that is something to keep in mind. Cristiano Ronaldo could exploit that. So take Aston Villa's defensive stats with a pinch of salt because it's not going to have Tuanzebe in it. And he is one of their best defenders, I would say. So I'm looking at Tuanzebe's stats right now and I haven't added it in there. But I'm looking at his stats in terms of Aston Villa, and Tuanzebe has won. He's won 11 aerial duels. The highest is Konsa, who's won 14, and Mings is third in that list with 10 aerial duels won. Tuanzebe has he's won 2 tackles out of 3. Konsa has won both. Konsa has won 2. Mings has won 1. And anything else that you probably need to see? Recoveries. So Konsa has 13 recoveries, Tuanzebe with 17 recoveries, Mings with 17 recoveries, Tuanzebe with 4 interceptions, Konsa with 2, Mings with 3. So you're looking at that defense. Tuanzebe is a significant part of that Aston Villa defense. Him not being able to play, and with United being at home for this fixture as well, and they are the only team at home out of the 3 teams I mentioned, they could potentially score goals in this game. Cristiano Ronaldo could have a couple goals in this game, which makes him a really good captaincy option. If you have him, and if you have Antonio, I'm not sure who I would captain between those two at this moment. I could potentially favor Cristiano Ronaldo because of the fact that I think United have players to create opportunities, and Ronaldo is on some hot form right now compared to West Ham, where they could potentially get stuck against Leeds, because Leeds is still a really good team. Even though they haven't been defending that well, they're still a really good team. Aston Villa aren't going to be any pushovers, but the loss of Tuanzebe, I might be over this thing, like making it a big thing, but it will play a part in Aston Villa's defensive structure. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the teams that I would target in terms of captaincy options. I think all 3 are great options. If I was to pick, it'll probably be between Antonio and Ronaldo. And if you didn't have Ronaldo, then maybe Salah is a decent option. But I don't know what Brentford's defense is going to be like. We'll have to see. They've been solid over the last few weeks, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if you have any questions, put it in the comments below. And also, if you have any questions for the podcast, tomorrow we'll be live on YouTube tomorrow for the podcast. Put your questions in the comments below and I'll answer it during the podcast with my panel. And yeah, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. Leave a like below so that it gets spread a bit more, like more people can see the video. So leave a like below as well. And thank you all for watching. Thank you for spending your time watching this video. I'll see you guys for the podcast tomorrow. Until then, have a good night and enjoy it.